Welcome to Influence Matters, the show that talks about turning your story into impact and your expertise into influence. I am literary consultant Clara Rose, and I'm your host today. Each week, I cover topics related to crafting your message for the world and building influence for your business, ministry, cause, or brand. Often, I have a special guest who's doing something interesting or amazing that I think you're going to be interested in. And today is one of those days. So, let me tell you about my guest. So, Stacy is a career ownership coach, which is a new term for me. So, I'm going to ask her about that. She helps professionals create a fulfilling Career 2.0 journey that aligns with their lives, not the other way around. And after decades in HR across multiple industries, she understands the corporate grind and knows that there is a better way. So if you are ready to explore those possibilities, please help me welcome Stacy Heisey-Terrell. Welcome, Stacy.
Hi, it's so great to be here.
Thank you for taking time out of your crazy busy schedule to share what it is that you do with my audience. So tell us what is you really do.
Yes, I work with folks who are at a place in their careers where they're looking for what else is out there? What else can I do? How can I find maybe some more enjoyment, more fulfillment in my career? And how do I align that with my life goals, my family's goals? So we go on a lovely journey to discover their career 2.0 and explore possibilities, options, and dreams along the way.
I love that. I'm such an entrepreneur at heart anyway, having been an entrepreneur since, well, my whole life. I think I was born this way, but having been a business owner since I was 18, right? Just and done a ton of different things, the whole shift into an entrepreneurial journey is second nature for me, but it is not second nature for everybody, right? So you might be
Right.
thinking, what do I want next? I love that you call it 2.0, right? Because we
Yeah.
understand what that means. This is like that next iteration of who I am, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
sounds like a process that you take people through. So is it like
Mhm.
a coaching process, or tell us how that works a little bit?
Yeah, I am a coach and I help people move into the driver's seat, take some ownership of their career. And so we spend quite a bit of time identifying and getting down on paper what are those big goals out on the horizon? How might their current career or career situation be misaligned with getting to them to their goals? What would alignment look like? Um, as well as identifying, what are those terrific transferable skills that we all have,
Mm,
and be creative about how a new industry or type of job or business ownership would put
mhm.
those skills and built expertise to work. So lots of
So
dreaming in the beginning and then,
okay.
identifying those practical skills and steps to explore.
So maybe just about looking at what's possible, right? Dissect what's
Yeah.
possible. What could I be doing? It's interesting. I just had a conversation with somebody about that, right? Discovering what you're passionate about, discovering what fulfills you, right? What drains you? What do you not
Mhm.
want to do, right? So you can better understand what you want the future to look like. Um, so tell me about, is this like a one-on-one process that you walk people through, or is this like a group thing?
Nope, one-on-one, and, yeah, I think you're exactly right. Often we get kind of stuck in a rut. We've been doing what we've been doing. We've probably been successful and taken promotion after promotion and kind of stayed in a comfortable spot. And
Mm,
for some folks, that can honestly get a little boring, or they might be in an environment that's not really great. And we talk about, well, what else is out there? What are you
mm,
missing because you've kind of had these career
mhm.
blinders on? Um, what
Sure.
what are ways that you could find some more of that fulfillment through aligning your career with your goals, kind of where you're headed?
I love that. I love that. I love self-discovery anyway, right? I think
Yeah,
everyone should
it's
do
fun,
all the tools, right? And I love
right?
the strength finders and I love them all, right? I think everyone should do all of them so that they could understand themselves and who they are, right? What makes them tick? How
Yeah,
can you hope that other people will get you if you don't even understand yourself, right? So, do you
right.
use some
Well,
of
and
those tools?
I do. I love those all the
Mm,
tools too.
mhm,
So I use Disc quite a bit, and
mhm, mhm,
not only for identifying what are those unique things that you bring to the table, but we look at the Disc through kind of a job search lens. How do you describe
mhm,
yourself? Is there new language that we can
mm,
glean from Disc or from other people describing us that we could adopt, or makes us kind of think about how do you describe that complexity or what you
mm.
bring to the table or bring with you to a career opportunity
Or a new business if you're thinking you wanna
or
be an
a new
entrepreneur.
business. Yes, sometimes that comes screaming through and people are like,
Mm,
"Oh no, I couldn't do that. Like I've never been out on my own." Right? And I'm like,
mm,
"Well, it seems that you're very independent. Seems like you really like to be part of the decision making. You know, things might be, telling you something different in your personality that we
mhm.
need to explore." Um,
That you might just not realize that you are a closet entrepreneur, right?
Yes, right? I've been kind of under a
Oh.
corporate rock maybe,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
need a chance to breathe free. But I think that process is also can be really scary to think about doing
mm,
something totally different, and unknown. So, we take time to, really explore how do you get information, gather data so kind of what would that be like without
mhm,
or before you commit to a certain path? How can you gain mentors and do some of that
mhm.
data gathering that makes you feel a little more comfortable or even excited for a new challenge, a new mountain to climb?
New journey, I love that. Now, of course, since we're talking about tools, I have to ask, do you have a book or do you use a book as a tool for this process?
Yes. Yes, I do. So I'm part of the Entrepreneur Source. I own my own business, but I'm part of their group. And we have a great book called Your Career Revolution that
Mm, mhm,
gets into your you 2.0 and some of the
mhm.
common
Yep,
fears that
mm,
we all have when we think about moving outside our comfort zone or our known path. Um, but also just some practical advice on how to dream a little and
mm.
explore brand new options.
I love that, and of course, I love that they have a tool, that they have a book for it. That's what I'm always preaching,
Yeah,
right? Create a book to
right?
use as a tool, right? And they've done that, so I love that that's an option. Um, so something else that when we first met to talk about having you on the show, you also brought up the fact that this is a free resource, right?
Yes, yes.
This is a
So
free
I know.
resource.
Isn't that fun?
That's
So
crazy.
Yeah, the way my business works is my coaching is complimentary, and often I can serve as a source, as a resource to budding entrepreneurs or people who are even in a career shift. And when that works out and the connection makes sense, then I'm paid a commission by that resource. So it makes it really easy to just kind of leave all the doors open.
Mhm,
Where is the journey taking us? And we can
mm,
explore a number of routes with ju- just the cost of some
I love that.
self-reflection and time, right?
Right, right. So then that just lowers that barrier, right, to entry, right? Where someone's thinking,
Yeah.
"I don't love getting up and going to my job every day, but I have no
Mhm.
idea what my options are. I don't wanna
Right.
have to pay," right? Or, right, maybe I can't
Right.
afford to pay, or maybe, that just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to pay for someone else to be, uh, involved in that process, but, we have coaches for everything else. I don't know why you wouldn't think, "Oh, I'm thinking about a new career, I should have a coach," right?
Right, right. Well, and it can be really scary and hard
Mhm,
to see outside your beaten path. And I run into some people who are like, "Oh, well, couldn't I do a process like this with my spouse or my close friends and family?" And I think actually sometimes it's harder to explore new
mm,
things with the people who know
for sure.
us. Um, because they already kinda know, or they're assuming, or they're projecting what our answers should
Mhm,
be to questions that they're asking,
mm,
rather than letting us kind of maybe delve the depths of,
mm,
how we
mhm,
really define success, what really makes us
mm,
happy, what are those environments that we really, really enjoy being in, and and that can be daunting to do on your own.
mm,
So it's good
for
to
sure.
have a friend, have a buddy. Oh, we like
Right.
to say
Well,
even Babe Ruth had a coach. Like you could have a
yeah,
coach too.
right? Right, right. And then a free coach at that, right? This is a free
Right?
resource, somebody to help you dig through some of the, um, preconceived ideas or misconceptions you have about yourself, and when it's somebody who knows you well, they're gonna talk to you differently, right, than
Yeah.
somebody from the outside who can say, "Well, here's what I'm observing in what you're saying," right? "Have you
Mhm.
ever
Mhm.
considered," right? And that's what coaching
Right.
really does is, right,
Mhm.
and peels back those layers, and makes you look at and reflect, right? Look at yourself and reflect on things
Yeah.
differently that someone who
Mhm.
can't do that as well,
Right.
s
Right.
especially not a spouse or somebody really close to you, right? They don't
Mhm.
have that same aren't gonna have that same impact as somebody you don't
Right.
know, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's but everybody needs a coach,
Yeah.
right? If you're gonna take
Yes.
on something new, find some help, find somebody who knows the
Mhm.
process, that can be your guide. I say that all the time with
Mhm.
potential clients, right? You wanna write a book? Find somebody who knows the process, who can help you
Yeah.
do it and shorten the time that it takes,
Mhm.
right? You could
Mhm.
be thinking about a career change for years, right?
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 And often we are. Often
Right?
that is going on with us,
Mm,
and it's hard to take that first step, or to even, like, where would
mm,
I start?
right,
How could I even do this? Yeah, so finding a resource, finding a coach that can say, "Okay, here's step 1. Here's what we gotta do.
right,
Let's
right.
let's get on the road, take that first step, the hardest step."
Right, right. You never write your book if you don't actually start writing, right? You're gonna never change
I've been
careers,
thinking about
you
it
know
for a long
Yeah,
time, but how do I, yeah.
What? You're never gonna write the book until you write you take that first step, write those first right? Hire a
For sure.
coach. I know
For
I'm preaching
sure.
to the choir, but that's it.
Yeah,
Find someone to
yeah,
help you with that transition, and, of course, working with me is not a free because I don't have somebody on the back end paying for it, paying for that
yeah,
resource
yeah,
or some sort of partner. So what a beautiful thing that you guys offer this service in such a way that anybody who's thinking, it is time for me for
yeah,
Clara 2.0 or whatever, right? For that next
yeah,
iteration of
yeah.
who I am in this world, to have somebody who can partner with you and help you on
Mhm,
figure that journey out. Because I think on your
mhm.
own, it's much more difficult to make those
It's
changes. Too
hard. Well, and
scary, I
it's
think.
hard to it's scary, and it's hard to hold
Mm,
yourself accountable, right? Like, I often
mm,
have
sure.
clients who tell me, and you probably hear this all the time, Claire, like, "Oh, I knew I had an appointment with you, so I had to do my reflection, or I had to do my homework,
Yep.
right? Because I saw you staring at me on my calendar." And,
Yeah.
even sometimes, right? Like the scary
So
thing.
true.
But just
Yeah.
giving ourselves a little accountability
Hmm.
to spend time on
That's it.
ourselves, to do those things that, we know will bring us life and bring us joy. It can be hard to say no to the world or slow it down so we can
Hmm.
have those carve outs,
Right. Well, and everything else seems to take priority.
for
So
sure.
true with a book and the book writing process because
Yeah.
life just moves on, right? So unless you're
Right.
intentional
Right.
about getting it done, right? And that's you would be shocked at how many people, because my clients meet with me, like if you're Tuesdays at 2 o'clock, every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you're popping on Zoom with me because that's the way it's structured. So I
Uh-huh.
know and you know by next Tuesday at 2, you better have your work done because I'm going to
Right.
say, "Where's your chapter?" Right? Or
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I haven't seen your feedback. I didn't see you in there editing. I didn't, right? So that accountability being baked in, it makes
Mhm.
all the difference. It's what makes
Yeah.
it work, right? The 2
Right.
things that make it
Right.
work. And it sounds like the same thing is true in your business, a plan, right? A roadmap to
Yeah.
follow and the accountability to get it done. Someone holding your feet to the
Absolutely.
fire, right? You
Yeah.
can't do it
And
without both
also
things. Gotta have a plan. You
absolutely.
gotta have the
Gotta have a
accountability.
plan, some accountability, and that celebration when you hit
Mm,
a
sure.
milestone or you have an epiphany that's like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, that is really different," or "That could really change your life." How do we celebrate that and even take a moment to just think like, "Oh, where were you when you started this journey versus now?"
Mhm.
That's kind of fun
I
too.
love that.
Um, yeah.
I need to build that into what I do. I mean, there's some built in, right? In that you see your progress. Oh, look at that. We're on chapter,
Right.
8 of 12 or whatever.
Uh-huh,
We're more than
uh-huh.
halfway done. I don't really celebrate them, but I love that idea of saying,
Yeah.
hooray, right? Balloons,
Right
something,
when you
right?
were
Look
writing
what
your
you've
intro,
done.
did you ever imagine you would be at chapter 8? Like, that's
Right.
amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
Mhm.
the day that you get your proof copy, right? Because we do proof copies at the very end
Yeah,
before we publish. You get that proof copy in your hand, right? You're feeling it, smelling the book. I'm a book
smelling those
smeller. I don't know.
pages. Yeah.
Right? Smelling seeing your words in print and then,
Yeah.
looking at your cover and your picture on the back. That's when the reality really, sets in because
Oh
you're
my
so
gosh,
close to
I'm an
that
author.
dream,
Yeah.
right, in that moment, right? So, I
Okay.
I assume that yours has a similar, right, something near the end, right? Do you help them,
Yes.
like, get that
Yeah.
job offer or what happens at that
Right.
point?
Kind of seeing it well, and it's fascinating to me what hits for certain people. So I have some clients
Mm,
that like, oh, I saw my name with
mm.
president or,
Yeah, yeah.
CEO as the business owner. I had another client and he sent me a picture of he and his 1-year-old son at the bank opening the banking account, and they had such
You
a fun time at the bank that he was like, "This is the moment that I'm really
mm,
can see myself
isn't that
as a business
interesting?
owner."
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, and having
interesting.
fun with those
Well,
those things. Yeah,
that's a moment of, "Oh, I really am doing this. I can do
I
this,"
did it.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably
yeah,
different for everybody,
right, right.
for sure.
Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, lovely.
So, we're before we run out of time, if people
Mhm.
are interested in having a conversation with you, walk just a little bit through. We have about like 4 minutes left. What the process might look like. Where do they start? Um, what happens next? Just some steps, because that's what, in my
Yeah.
opinion, in my experience, that takes away some of the anxiety. If you can say, "Here's what we're gonna do first, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do
Not
this,"
scary.
right? Takes some of the fear factor away. So, kinda give us
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
fear relieving stuff.
Yeah, well, and I find, you might have some listeners out there who are kind of feeling a little itchy feeling of, I know I need to do something, or it'd be nice to have just kind of a recalibration. Is my career doing what I want it to do for me?
Mm,
So I love having those conversations with folks. They go to my website, My Life, My Biz. Yep, here we go. You
mhm,
pop right in here and can fill out a contact card. You can also just get right on my calendar there at the top. And usually that first conversation is just kind of an introduction. Where are you? What is it that you want to explore? How do you think a coach could help you do that? And then we dive in with a little self reflecting homework and really a talk about what are those goals? How do we articulate them, get them down on paper? Uh, like, sit on them for a minute. What's our vision? Where are we aiming to go? And then we start talking about all the myriad of vehicles and paths to get to those goals on the horizon. So sometimes that's taking some action steps of talking to your network or brushing off your resume, thinking through how do you tell your career story,
mm,
what
mhm,
uh, how would business ownership fit into that?
mm,
What do your friends and family think of that, or think of you making a pivot? What How would they encourage you, or what fears do you need to overcome in that process? So those first few conversations are usually um, really good reflecting times, but also pretty fun too, because it's really uh, focused on what makes you unique and
mm,
special and different, and how does the world need to know you more, right? How can your impact be bigger than it is,
mm.
or
Love that word,
different than it is? Yeah,
different and more fulfilling. I love that. So,
more fulfilling
almost
all
out
the
of time,
way.
but one last question. How long does that process how long do you typically work with people?
Yeah, it really depends on kind of what we're exploring. If we're exploring business ownership, that could go a few months, 4, 5, even 6 months long
Okay.
to launch a business or really be
Mhm.
close.
Sure.
Um, for some folks, it's kind of a reassessment. Am I doing the right thing? Am
Mm,
I on the right path? And those are shorter, with some potentials for check-ins or
sure.
reconnects.
That's That makes sense. Okay, we are totally out of time, but thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking time to be here and share this amazing resource. Um, I surely appreciate your time.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much.
You bet. Take care. All right, guys. So, as I said, something super fascinating, amazing that someone out there is doing that I thought you might be interested in. If you are thinking it's time for a career change or career 2.0 for you, definitely reach out to Stacy. It's not going to cost you anything but a little bit of time and a little bit of effort. Okay, before we go, I always like to put this out there for you. If you are looking to grow your influence with a book, I invite you to join the Savvy Author community on Facebook if you would like, or you can work with us directly by going to craftingyourmessage.com/academy. The new Savvy Author Academy cohort is starting right now. If you would like to be a part of it, we invite you to hop in this next group. If you'd like to chat more about your book, you can hop on my calendar on craftingyourmessage.com and connect with me and just grab a spot on my calendar as well. And then, of course, I just want to encourage you that if it's time, let's write your book. Let's get it done. I want to remind you to be strategic, be intentional, and be savvy because influence matters, my friend. All right, I'll see you guys same time next week. Take care.